The history of Tunisia, from ancient Carthage to modern statehood. Tunisia, a small yet historically significant nation in North Africa, has a rich past that reflects the influence of numerous cultures, empires, and religions. Strategically located along the Mediterranean coast, Tunisia has been at the crossroads of civilizations, from ancient Carthaginian power to Roman, Arab, Ottoman, and French dominions. Each era left its imprint on Tunisia, shaping the nation's identity, cultural heritage, and path to independence. Ancient Tunisia and the rise of Carthage. The earliest known inhabitants of Tunisia were Berber tribes, whose presence can be traced back thousands of years. Around 1100 BC, Phoenician traders from the eastern Mediterranean coast established trading posts in North Africa, including the city of Carthage, located near modern-day Tunis. Founded around 814 BC, Carthage grew into a powerful and prosperous city-state that dominated Mediterranean trade routes. Carthage became known for its wealth, advanced maritime technology, and strategic location. By the 6th century BC, it controlled a vast network of colonies and trade posts across the Mediterranean. However, Carthage's expansion brought it into conflict with Rome, leading to a series of wars known as the Punic Wars to 146 BC. These wars ended with the destruction of Carthage in 146 BC, when the Romans razed the city, effectively ending Carthaginian power in North Africa. Roman Africa and prosperity. After defeating Carthage, Rome established the province of Africa Proconsularis in the territory of modern-day Tunisia. Under Roman rule, Tunisia experienced significant economic and cultural development. Cities like Thysdrus, modern-day El-Jam, Bulla Regia, and Dada became centers of agriculture, especially olive oil production and grain, which supplied much of Rome's food needs. The Romans built impressive infrastructure in Tunisia, including roads, aqueducts, and amphitheaters, such as the massive amphitheater of El-Jam. Roman Tunisia flourished as a prosperous region, with local elites adopting Roman customs, language, and architectural styles. Christianity also spread widely during this period, and Tunisia became home to influential Christian communities and notable figures like Saint Augustine of Hippo. Vandals and Byzantine control. In the 5th century, as the Western Roman Empire weakened, Vandal invaders from Europe conquered Tunisia, establishing their own kingdom. The Vandals ruled for roughly a century before the Byzantine Empire, under Emperor Justinian I, recaptured the region in 533 CE. Byzantine rule marked an attempt to restore Roman traditions and stabilize North Africa, but it faced resistance from local Berber tribes and did not fully consolidate control. The Byzantine Empire held Tunisia for about a century, although it struggled to maintain influence over the entire region. This weakened control paved the way for the arrival of Arab Muslim forces in the 7th century, which would drastically reshape the cultural and religious landscape of Tunisia. The Arab conquest and the spread of Islam. In the 7th century, Tunisia was conquered by Arab Muslim armies, marking the beginning of the Islamic era in the region. The Arabs introduced Islam and Arabic language and culture, gradually transforming Tunisia's social fabric. The Muslim conquest led to the decline of Christianity in Tunisia, as Islam became the dominant faith. By the early 8th century, the region was fully incorporated into the Umayyad Caliphate. In 670 CE, the city of Kairouan was founded, becoming a major center of Islamic learning, culture, and trade. Kairouan remains one of the holiest cities in Islam today. Tunisia's economy flourished under the Aghlabid dynasty 800 to 909 CE, which ruled on behalf of the Abbasid Caliphate. The Aghlabids established public works, including mosques, palaces, and a sophisticated irrigation system that boosted agriculture. The Fatimid Caliphate, an Ismaili Shia dynasty, rose to power in the 10th century and briefly ruled Tunisia before moving its capital to Egypt. Their departure allowed the Zirid dynasty, a Sunni Berber state, to govern Tunisia autonomously. However, the Zirid period saw political instability, with waves of invasions from the Banu Hilal tribes, sent by the Fatimids as retribution, which disrupted the region's economic and social stability. Ottoman Tunisia and the Age of Corsairs. In the 16th century, the Ottoman Empire expanded into North Africa, incorporating Tunisia as a semi-autonomous province under Ottoman suzerainty. The Ottomans appointed a local governor, or bey, to oversee the region, and Tunisia maintained a degree of autonomy. Under Ottoman rule, the city of Tunis became an important center for trade and culture, attracting scholars, artisans, and merchants. During this period, Tunisia became known for corsairs pirates who operated out of Tunisian ports, raiding European shipping in the Mediterranean. Corsair activities brought wealth to Tunis but also led to frequent conflicts with European powers, including Spain, France, and the Kingdom of Sicily. The Beys of Tunis balanced autonomy and loyalty to the Ottomans, developing an independent Tunisian identity within the empire. In the 19th century, Tunisia faced economic challenges and political reforms as it attempted to modernize. Ahmad Bey, who ruled from 1837 to 1855, introduced reforms to the military, educational, and administrative systems, aiming to strengthen Tunisia's independence. However, these reforms also increased Tunisia's debt to European creditors, especially France. French colonization. In 1881, France established a protectorate over Tunisia, marking the beginning of a colonial era that lasted until 1956. French colonial rule imposed significant social, economic, and political changes. The French controlled Tunisia's administration and economy, exploiting resources and encouraging European settlers to move to Tunisia. Under French rule, Tunisia underwent infrastructure development, including railways, roads, and ports. However, this development primarily benefited French settlers and the colonial economy rather than the Tunisian population. The Tunisian nationalist movement emerged in response to colonial exploitation, with intellectuals, religious leaders, and workers advocating for independence. Prominent nationalist leaders, including Habib Bourguiba, founded the Neo-Dastur Party in 1934, which became the leading force for independence. Bourguiba and other activists pushed for greater political representation and autonomy, despite frequent repression by the colonial authorities. Independence and the Bourguiba era. After World War II, pressure for decolonization grew, and Tunisia's nationalist movement gained momentum. Tunisia achieved independence from France on March 20, 1956, with Habib Bourguiba becoming the nation's first prime minister and later its first president. Bourguiba established a secular, progressive vision for Tunisia, focusing on education, women's rights, and modernization. Bourguiba implemented significant reforms aimed at creating a modern state. Tunisia became a republic in 1957, abolishing the monarchy and establishing a single-party state under Bourguiba's Neo-Dastur party. Bourguiba emphasized secularism and sought to limit the influence of religious institutions in government, which differentiated Tunisia from many other Arab nations. Despite his early popularity, Bourguiba's authoritarian style and resistance to political opposition led to growing discontent. By the 1970s, economic challenges and limited political freedom created tension. In 1987, Prime Minister Zine El Abidine Ben Ali removed Bourguiba from office, citing health concerns, and assumed the presidency. Ben Ali's regime and the road to revolution. Ben Ali's government initially promised political reforms, economic development, and greater freedom. However, his regime quickly became known for corruption, human rights abuses, and suppression of political opposition. Under Ben Ali, Tunisia maintained a relatively stable economy, focusing on tourism and trade. However, widespread poverty, high unemployment, and lack of political freedom fueled resentment among Tunisians. By the late 2000s, dissatisfaction with Ben Ali's rule grew, and protests erupted over economic conditions and government corruption. In December 2010, Mohamed Bouazizi, a street vendor, set himself on fire in protest of police harassment and economic hardship. Bouazizi's act sparked nationwide protests, leading to what became known as the Tunisian Revolution. The Tunisian Revolution and the Arab Spring. In January 2011, after weeks of protests, Ben Ali fled the country, ending his 23-year rule. Tunisia's successful ousting of its authoritarian leader inspired the Arab Spring, a wave of uprisings across the Arab world. Tunisia transitioned to a democratic system, holding free and fair elections for the first time in its history. The Tunisian Revolution marked the beginning of a challenging journey toward democracy. The Ennahda movement, an Islamist political party, gained influence, but political tensions between secularists and Islamists created divisions. In 2014, Tunisia adopted a new constitution, emphasizing human rights, democracy, and equal rights for women. Modern Tunisia, challenges and hopes for stability. Tunisia's transition to democracy has been celebrated as a success in the region, though the nation faces ongoing challenges. Economic struggles, including high unemployment and reliance on tourism, have hindered growth, while political polarization remains a concern. Additionally, Tunisia has experienced occasional security threats from extremist groups, leading to a heightened focus on counterterrorism. Despite these obstacles, Tunisia continues to make strides in democratic governance. Civil society, youth, and women's organizations play active roles in shaping Tunisia's future, and the country remains a unique example of successful democratization in the Arab world. The journey from ancient Carthage to modern Tunisia reflects a resilient spirit, marked by adaptation, cultural richness, and an enduring pursuit of freedom and identity.